Você que tá ouvindo esse podcast, quer saber por que o Senac EAD é o melhor pra você?
Com certeza. Diga.
Além de ser reconhecido nacionalmente pela atuação em educação profissional de qualidade, o Senac EAD conta com mais de 400 cursos entre livres, técnicos, graduação, pós-graduação, extensão universitária e programa de aprendizagem e mais de 390 polos próprios em todo o país.
Ah, e não pode esquecer de falar que ainda por cima é nota máxima no MEC.
Tá vendo? Quer saber? Senac EAD. Acesse ead.senac.br e saiba mais.
Today on CityCast Denver. There's trouble in what looks a lot like paradise. One of the most popular local food influencers in Denver is in hot water for stealing content, ripping off restaurants, and selling out to big soulless chains. So we're getting unfiltered with two local Instagrammers we love. Ashley of the hilarious Colfax Things and Amanda Bittner are on to explain how the Denver Foodies hype machine blew up in his face. Today is Wednesday, October 2nd. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Ashley, aka Colfax Things, welcome back to CityCast Denver.
Thanks for having me.
And Amanda Bittner, welcome back to the show as well.
Oh, thanks. I'm excited to be here.
So the reason we wanted to talk to both of you is because recently there was this Instagram account that it's called, well, at one point it was called the Denver Foodie. We learned in the last 24 hours that he has changed his name to What's Up Denver 303. But he was called out by some Denver restaurants for like some scammy behavior. Ashley, you kind of explained a little bit of this on your account. Can you kind of set the scene for us, or maybe like, I know you had a direct interaction with this account.
So a couple years ago, I created a meme that has a picture of Anthony Bourdain somewhere in Asia, eating from what appears to be like a rice noodle bowl. And above it, I wrote something like, when people in Denver first discover Federal Boulevard, or something like that. I can't even remember. It was so long ago.
Which is such an encapsulation of the Federal Boulevard experience.
Exactly.
I've actually overheard people talking about it and be like, well, I don't go over there except for when I go to eat pho. And I'm like, weird, you're talking about my neighborhood, but go on. But it was the perfect encapsulation of something that people in Denver would understand.
Yeah. And so that meme took off, and I've seen several people share it without giving me credit, which whatever. But he took it and changed the wording by like 2 words and claimed it as his own and didn't give me credit. And I saw it, or somebody tagged me in it. And so I said, hey, that's my meme. And, you know, he kind of had some words with me, and I just...
He was kind of rude about it when you were just like, hey, that's my meme. Could you just like credit me for it?
Right. And we live in the same city. So it's like, why would you do this?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, when all of that kind of erupted, I found out that he basically goes to these small business restaurants and says he'll give them exposure for a certain amount of money, and he'll create videos or reels kind of influencing his following to go there. But what happens is he'll take the money, eat for free, and then never post the videos.
And this is what some restaurants have shared online as being what happened.
Yes.
Right. This is like, I mean, we should say allegedly, but this is what they have shared has been their experience working with this particular food influencer.
Yes. And I guess this has been going on for a while, not just in recent days. So.
Okay. Well, Amanda, this is not really how it's supposed to work, right?
No. I've done quite a few partnerships myself, both locally and kind of with some bigger brands. And first of all, when I heard that he was getting paid up front, I was like, oh, I've never gotten paid up front. Usually I don't even charge until I post. And in some instances, I get paid months later if it's a bigger brand. But the fact that he was taking money up front before anything was even live, that's a little unconventional in my experience. And then, I heard that he was just kind of ghosting the businesses once they were following up with him. And I've been late on partnerships before. Things happen, stuff gets in the way, but you just have to communicate.
Yeah.
If you can't deliver what you promised on time, just communicate the changes. And it sounds like he is completely ghosting people that he has agreed to do a business transaction with. And if you're not delivering on what you promised, then that is trouble.
Well, and I think it sends a message that, again, this is the business of influencing is like what we're talking about here. And it's still like a fairly unregulated, I don't even know how to say it. It's like,
there's so much gray area.
Yeah.
And the rules are
great example. It's
unclear.
a great way to say it.
And there's such a low barrier to entry. Anyone can make an account and start doing this. And all of us are kind of winging it. And it's such a new industry. So there's best practices that you kind of have to learn over time. But some of this is just basic ethics and morals that seem to be questionable.
That's the interesting part, though, is like it's your ethics, or Ashley, it's your ethics, but what this Denver foodie person's ethics are, we don't really know.
You're right.
So I want to share a comment really quick. So our producer, Olivia, reached out to the formerly known as Denver Foodie account. We actually just asked him if he wanted to chat, and he responded, "Thank you for considering me as a guest for your podcast," which we did not ask him to do. At this time, I won't be discussing any backlash related to my food influencing, as my legal team is currently addressing the situation. I appreciate your understanding and will share updates as they become available. So we just want folks to know we did reach out to this gentleman. We did try to talk to him. But we wanted to bring both of you on because you have very different accounts, but you represent Denver and things going on in Denver and the culture of Denver and the food of Denver and the music of all these different aspects of Denver. And Ashley, I wonder, do you think that this situation matters to Denverites who are like just looking for a cool place to eat?
I think it depends on the person for sure, because I still see how many followers he has.
Which is, it's like over 200,000, right? It's not a small amount.
On TikTok and Instagram.
Right.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right. And I do think to some degree it is helpful for the small businesses. But at the end of the day, I think the feedback that I've seen in comments and from my own followers is that they want someone who isn't scamming people.
Right.
And is actually doing a positive thing for small businesses, because there are a lot of restaurants in Denver that don't have budgets for marketing. And so they view this as like an opportunity to get in front of lots of people. And so do I agree with the way he's doing it? No. I think the way Amanda does it is a lot better and more clear, because you're saying, hey, I'm going to make this really cool video for you and I'm going to share it to my followers, and that'll hopefully bring more people into you, and then you can pay me, instead of asking for money up front, because a lot of small businesses don't have that.
Like you're saying, they don't have a marketing budget.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And we know the margins for restaurants are really slim.
Right.
And Amanda, you're pretty clear ethically about this is a sponsored post, or can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, I think that's another thing that I've seen multiple creators kind of skirt around, but it's a legal requirement that you have to disclose a paid partnership. If a business pays you to come in, you have to put that paid partnership label. You have to disclose that it's an ad, and you have to be honest with what you're saying. There's all these FTC guidelines about that. When you're a creator like this and you have thousands of people who trust you, that trust is everything. And if you do anything to jeopardize that, word spreads. Social media is social. And we're seeing in this instance, word gets out and your trust is lost, and then you're going to have nothing.
And then that really it's dangerous for you as the creator. Are people going to trust you anymore?
Right.
Are you a valid source for information, or however you're presenting yourself? Ashley, your approach is a little different than Amanda's. Can you explain kind of how you approach what you do through the Colfax Things account?
Yeah, and this has shifted over time. I used to be really aggressive towards people in comments, and I've kind of toned that down a bit, because I've realized that my page brings people joy and laughter, and opinions of people who I disagree with, I don't need to address them all the time unless they're hurtful to other people. And I try really to approach it from a positive stance. And if something is harmful to the community, I do highlight it, because I want people to know, like, hey, there's this person out here that's maybe hurting one of the businesses that you really like. I try to be an advocate, for everyone in the community, whether that's, through memes or sharing restaurants or calling people out. But I've shifted my tone and how I approach that a lot lately. So
what made you change it?
To Amanda's point, a lot of people, word spreads. And I don't want people to think that I'm just this a-hole behind a phone because
Yeah.
I'm not. I like to think of myself.
You're a real person.
Yes, I'm a
Yeah.
real person. I like to think of myself as, a kind person. I may not appear that way at times, but, it's important for people to come to my page and have a sense of community and laughter and not be bombarded by politics or negativity. And so I've shifted the way I respond to people on certain topics.
I would say, though, that your approach is still more opinion based. And
Correct.
Amanda's, I would say yours is a little more editorial.
Yeah.
Like you are, you're like the lifestyle of Denver and the beauty of Denver. And then you're like, here's the underbelly of
The
Denver.
nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Desfrute do novo Icon of the Seas da Royal Caribbean agora partindo de Miami. É o ícone das férias repleto de atrações, com o maior parque aquático no mar e espetáculos sensacionais da Broadway. Com destinos incríveis no Caribe, incluindo a premiada ilha particular Perfect Day at Coco Cay, a aventura nunca acaba. Icon of the Seas, as melhores férias em família do mundo. Acesse royalcaribbean.com/BRA. Aplicam-se termos e condições.
Uma pausa no seu podcast para contar que chegou o novo Peugeot 2008, um carro que impressiona até quem já viu de tudo. Conheça uma experiência de puro prazer em dirigir com acabamento sofisticado e design inconfundível. Descubra como conforto e tecnologia podem elevar o nível da sua experiência de direção. Conheça o novo Peugeot 2008 e deixe a inspiração te guiar.
I want to go back to something that you were talking about, Amanda. I wonder, when you're talking about being transparent with, this is the requirements, paid partnerships need to be clear. Do you think the audience cares about transparency? Like, is that why the Denver foodie was maybe trying to hide stuff to keep up an illusion that maybe people don't care that much about the transparency? I don't know.
I think
How do you
people
feel?
definitely care about transparency because, all right, I won't name the restaurant, but I was hired to come into a restaurant and post about it. It's a restaurant downtown. It's like pretty fancy. I've heard good things. I went in. I had a great time. And sometimes I think that if a creator or an influencer is coming in, sometimes we might get special treatment.
Sure.
But I had a great time, truly. Posted a great reel about the place. I got absolutely annihilated in my comments. Every single comment on TikTok, every single comment on Instagram was like, this place is terrible. Don't go here. Amanda, I really liked your account, but this is so disappointing that you
Lord.
posted this place.
Oh, I
And
love the finger wagging.
yeah, people have different experiences at different places. Like staff members have good days and bad days. I'm never going to claim that I am correct and my experience is what everyone will have. We all have different experiences and likes and dislikes. But that kind of was like, oh man, maybe I should have done more homework on this place or read up about it. And I had trouble with that. So
Because you really try to present an honest experience. And
Right.
that was honestly your
and
experience.
it was honestly my experience. But sometimes I'm like, well,
I
do
might
they
have gotten
know-
the red carpet.
Maybe because I have a big following and they know I'm coming in. They tell the staff to treat me well. So yeah, I really try to be cognizant of that stuff and kind of do some homework before I go somewhere. I've also had experiences where I was hired for a contract to make a video and I had a really bad time. And I have terminated contracts that I've signed and for 4 figures. And it was a lot of money for me to lose. And I could have just said, let me take the money and make a good, happy video, even though I didn't really like this. But at the end of the day, it's my reputation on the line. And it's, if my audience doesn't trust me, like I'm canceled, I'm over. And I don't want to put out false information. So I came back to that brand and I said, look, your app was buggy. It didn't even work. I didn't have a good time. Like, I don't feel comfortable promoting this on my page because if my audience has a bad time with it too, they're going to say, Amanda, why are you promoting this?
Yeah, this is interesting because I think it's also the balance of the parasocial relationship that followers have with both of you. And that comes with expectations about what they think you should like and what they think you should be talking about. And that's just like, that's part of this new reality of the last decade of social media that we've learned to identify as parasocial relationships where someone following you thinks that they know you.
Right.
And then they tell you that. And
yeah.
it's they're like, well, you wouldn't normally, Amanda, you wouldn't normally like this. The disappointed thing. I like want to throw my phone when I see people say that because I'm like, do you know me?
I know.
I don't think you know me.
I know.
But it does, you're highlighting the complexity of this whole thing, which is we're presenting ourselves, but we're also working. So, but Ashley, I would say yours is a little different too, because you've been very clear, like you don't take money. And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with either of the approaches that you both take, but you take very different approaches.
Yeah.
Why don't you take money?
Well, for instance, I'm not a influencer page when it comes to food and beverage. And so I don't think it's appropriate for me to take money when that's not my sole audience, right? Yes, I'll go out to eat at a place on Colfax or a new restaurant and I'll post about it if I enjoyed it, similar to Amanda. And like, but that's because I went there. I wasn't asked to go there. I wasn't,
Sure.
And so usually when I post those sorts of things, the businesses are really shocked because they didn't know who I was or anything
Didn't
like
know
that.
you were there.
Yeah.
They couldn't roll out the red carpet for you.
Yeah.
Loki.
But it is funny because the last week, especially, I was invited to go to Urban Cowboy
Yes.
down on 17th and Grant. And
you posted a very nice like tour and like
It's on my list now.
same. It made me want to go
great.
there.
But the reason I went there is because as soon as I saw they were coming to Denver from Nashville, I followed them because Bree, you know me, I'm kind of a cowboy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was really stoked because the owners are wonderful people. The wife is actually originally from Denver. And I just wanted to support. So I kind of followed their journey for the last year or so. And when they opened, I was really excited. And they offered me some food. And I was like, okay, well, I'll make a little video, whatever. And
But you did not have an agreement with them to
Nope.
make a video, and
Nope.
because you would have shared that if you did.
Yep. Yeah. And then I went to another event for Woody Creek Distillery where I met William H. Macy, which was really wild.
Oh, casual.
Yeah, it was really wild. But and that was just another, like, they didn't ask for anything. They were just like, do you just want to come to this? Also, shout out to my girlfriend because she was actually initially invited to that.
Hey.
So it
Helps
wasn't-
to have a pretty lady on your
wasn't
arm when you
me.
go to do that.
Right. Yes. Wasn't me. I guess I shouldn't take credit for that. But I don't take money because, again, I'm a meme page. Like, people come to my
The
page
commentary.
to laugh.
For the
and, like,
reality. Yeah. The
the
humor.
general consensus is I make fun of Denver. And I don't want businesses to be afraid to do business with me.
Sure.
And I also just,
But you are present. This is what I am.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
yeah. And money's not, I just don't want to.
I think it's interesting though, because Amanda, you're very clear, you take money. This is a job, but it is not enough to sustain you.
Nope. I have 2 other jobs. People think I do this full time, but there's no way. There's no way I would ever want to, truthfully.
Really? I was like, it looks like so much work to me, honestly. The
yeah.
amount of
Well, first of all,
the work you put into your
It's
content.
inconsistent, income. Brands change their minds. Brands will push due dates. And it's like, oh, I was expecting that check in July. And here we are in October. And I'm still, my bank
It's the
account's looking
freelance
dry.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's inconsistent. And also, I just don't want to put all my eggs in that basket and have my livelihood depend on public perception of me. It's just,
That's
I
fair.
don't know. It's a strange thing
Totally
to kind
fair.
of monetize full time. Also, I think the nature of what I do is different than other creators. I've gone on press trips with fashion influencers and they make tons of money because they'll post their outfit to their Instagram stories and sell out an Amazon shirt for the day and make buku bucks from commissions. And I'm not doing that stuff. I don't do beauty. I don't do a lot of products. I don't do clothes. I do
Yeah.
kind of do like experiences that people might plan 6 months from now or go do a year from now, that hotel stays, vacations. So it's different. But yeah, I don't think I want to do this full time because sometimes comments are hard. I need to take a break. I will be the first
takes
to
a
admit I am
toll.
super weak. I am a weakling and I have to
I'm with
block
you.
the haters. And Ashley, you're stronger than me.
Yeah, you're very good at the responses.
I can't handle it. I can't handle it. And sometimes I need a break. And if this was my full-time job.
I do too. Don't
Yeah.
worry. There's sometimes I don't log in for like the weekend.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
You got
Well, I want to play this clip from the Denver Foodies page because it has me thinking about are you ambassadors of the city? This is how I had thought of him originally. It was like, he's the Denver foodie. So he's a representation of Denver, but he made a reel for Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, and it's like it's a national chain, but it's just like, well, let's just listen to it.
What's up, Denver? If you're in the mood for some amazing down-home cooking, you gotta check out Bubba Shrimp Co. in downtown Denver. This restaurant captures the charm and the American spirit that made Forrest Gump a smash hit. This is the Shrimper's Net Catch. It's shrimp steamed in beer and seasonings, and you can't go wrong with Mama's Fried Chicken or Lieutenant Dan's Ribs and Shrimp Plate, and their jambalaya is top notch. You hit it with some of that Bubba Gump's hot sauce, and for dessert, their strawberry shortcake is a must. This place is filled with all kinds of cool memorabilia. They even have a little gift shop where you can pick up souvenirs, hot sauces, and seasonings. And this location is now proudly serving Coca-Cola. If you're a fan of Forrest Gump, this place is an absolute must. You gotta stop by and check it out.
This is the guy that got us talking, but I wonder about this particular post. He's talking about a national chain, and he's kind of, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about this. What do you two think about this kind of post?
To me, it is very clear that he was hired for that and given bullet points from the brand that he should touch on and messaging points. We want you to talk about Coca-Cola. We want you to talk about our gift shop. We want you to talk about, Mama's home cooking. And those sound like corporate brand points that were handed to him.
Do you take those when you get them, or how do you?
I get them. Yeah, I'll get creative briefs from brands like that, and they'll say, we want you to mention our name in the first 2 seconds. We want you to list all these things, end with a call to action. And if it feels too,
you're like, my
too
followers will
salesy,
know.
right? You can see right through it. You can feel that it's a salesy ad. So the art of creating is to kind of make it feel more authentic and try and work with a brand to make something your own and something that will resonate with your audience. Because as creators, we know our audience better than a big
100%.
Corporate brand.
Yeah.
But that felt a little salesy to me. What do you think, Ashley?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're going to highlight a chain, like national chain, that's not Denver. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But, and also Forrest Gump was famous on its own, and they're just ripping on the popularity of that, unfortunately. So,
yeah, I guess it just had me thinking about the assumptions that I might make about a page that identifies itself as Denver related.
Right.
Right. I am very protective of this place. I love it. I want everybody to enjoy it, but I also wonder, like, what message is he sending? Is this what Denver's about? But also that might not be his mission. Maybe he wanted to make some money, and he's not, maybe that's just his point.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a strange thing. It says it's a paid partnership, right? Okay. So he's transparent about that.
And maybe, it's just like, this is a commercial break, and then we'll get back to my local Denver stuff later.
Which is what we do on our show.
Sure.
I mean, we get the same kind of creative brief too, but it's clearly an advertisement, and they are paying to be on the show. And we try, when we do mention those places that advertise with us, we try to remember, if we talk about them in the show organically, to say, oh, by the way, they're also a sponsor, but they're not paying for us to talk about this.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. So many ethical gray areas.
Oh, so many.
Well, Ashley, Amanda, thank you so much. This was really lovely.
Thanks for having us.
Had a great time. Thanks.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell What's Up Denver 303 about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya!
Hi, my name is Marcel, and I'm a shell, as you can see from my body.